Bob, I know when you come home from work, you just like to relax before dinner, and I really appreciate that. But I'd like to take this one time to have a conversation with you about some of the many things that I'm worried about.
Uh-huh.
I need this to be a conversation.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
I don't want to talk to you, Bob. I want you to listen.
I am listening. I can do both, Joyce. I can listen and look at the paper. I can hear you. Go ahead.
It's me or the newspaper.
Oh, I just can't believe what the Cardinals did last night. I mean, again, it's amazing. Okay, I got the look. I see it. Okay, so.
You got the look.
Yeah, I got the look.
After all these years, you know what that means.
No, I know it.
Okay, so you're going to get lots of looks. Now, the first is what happened this morning. I ended up taking Michael to school after I picked him up Highway 40 because their car broke down again. Lynn is with AAA. I take him to school. That's the third time in a month that car's broken down. They need
It's
a
a
new
hunk
car.
of junk.
It is. They
Yeah.
need a new car.
Yeah.
They can't afford a new
Well,
car.
that's not our problem. That's Dave's problem with Lynn. They can't figure that out.
Well, we can help, I think. We can help. So this is what I've been thinking. So we have Larry and John in the business. They both have cars.
Right.
But she has ownership. And she should have a car.
Because she owns 5% of the business that we gave her?
Yeah.
And now she gets a car because of that?
Yeah,
Oh, for crying out loud. Are you serious?
I am.
Joyce, all three owns 5%, which we gave them.
Right.
Not a penny. The two boys work in the company. They have jobs that require cars. So that's why they have a car. I own stock in General Motors. General Motors doesn't give me a new Chevrolet because I own a stock in their company. So it has nothing to do with their ownership. It's what somebody needs to do their job, whether they're family or not, that's when they get the car.
So if that's the criteria, then find a job for Dave. Then he'll work there and then he'll get a car.
That's even a worse idea. You know, I don't know how many jobs he's had in their married life, but he just can't hold a job, and I think for good reason. I remember when she brought him home when she was in college, and right then and there, I thought, this guy's a loser. I didn't know why she was even dating him, and I told her that. I told her, you know, this guy's a turkey, he's a loser. And she said, Dad, you just don't know him. He is really wonderful. I love him. Da 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 da. Well, 3 kids later, he's a bigger loser than I thought he was when they first met. Man, he just can't handle it. So that's their problem, not mine.
Well, I think we've got to help him somehow. So, I mean, you have a lot of employees in the business. Find a place for him.
Well, wait a minute. I mean, at times I think, given what you just told me, that I was going to be running a social welfare organization. Well, somebody needs a car, hire him. Somebody, you know, I'll tell you, Larry, I've moved from one department to another over all those years, trying to find a place where, not that he would do good, he wouldn't do bad. He's terrible. If he had a different last name, I'd fire him. But I finally put him in a position. He calls on our suppliers. He thanks them for getting quality and on-time delivery, that type of thing. If there's a problem with a supplier, I don't dare let Larry go out and talk to him. And I never would send him out to a customer. So, I mean, if he didn't have that last name, he wouldn't be in the business.
What's going to happen when he's the president of this company?
He's never going to be the president of the company.
Really?
Unless you want the company to go bankrupt, then we could make him president.
You know, he has 100% in his mind that he's going to be president. And let me tell you what happened when I was in the office the other day.
Yeah, I remember you coming by.
They were there too.
Yeah.
and they were walking a little bit ahead of me.
You talking about who?
Larry.
Larry and
Pat.
Pat?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
And so I was behind them a bit, not too far, but I could hear. And Larry looks in there and tells her, when that's my office, I'm going to have it remodeled, and I'm going to have a mahogany desk. That's what he said. So if he's not going to be president, then you got to work this. If you don't, you need to deal somehow with what's going to be happening here, because he thinks he's going to.
Well, I'm going to tell you, he's never going to be the president unless you want to take the company and ruin it in 6 months. I mean, no way could he ever run that company. So I'm going to tell you, I think about this stuff. I know you don't think I do, but I do. You know, John could probably do the job. When John got out of school, engineering school, and he worked for another engineering firm for a while before he joined us, and I asked him to join us. There was an opening. I asked him to come in. He said, okay, Dad, yeah, and so he came in. He's doing good work. He could be president someday, I would think, maybe pretty far down in the future, but I think he has the potential. If we go out now, you're saying that Larry needs to know now that he's not going to be the president. If we say, no, it's not going to be you, it's going to be your younger brother who's only been with us 5 years who's going to be president, not you who's older and been with us 20 years. Oh, of course he's going to think that's wonderful. Baloney, you want a family problem, do it. You'll never see, Larry and Pat and their kids at Thanksgiving again ever. They're gone if we do that. They learn that. So no, I don't know what to do.
I wonder if that's what Don thought before he died. If he thought, time's on my side, I'll get around to planning succession and all that. As you know, Don was younger than you.
A little bit.
He didn't smoke, he didn't drink, he exercised, he was in good health, and he had, as you know, a massive heart attack golfing. Now, I think Don probably thought he had time on his side and that things were going to work out. But he didn't have a plan either, Bob. And I had coffee with Nancy, and it is horrible what they're experiencing. The business, the family, there was no plan, no idea. Nobody was prepared for this. And there are huge problems, Bob. In addition to her dealing with the grief and everything that she's experiencing, she's dealing with all this headache. And these kids, because of all these problems, Bob, they're not talking, there are hard feelings.
Well,
it's horrible.
I can't solve their problems, and I have enough for just running our business without looking for more problems.
Do you see that could be our situation? Do you see I could be a Nancy?
If something would happen to me, I think the two boys and Paul's really good. He's been around 20-some years. I think he could be there to help you figure out what to do. So I'm not worried about that.
But Bob, do you want to set me up?
No, I don't want to set you. I think it'll be fine in time, and organizations running well. We're okay. Employees are happy. Things are working fine.
I think you're wrong on that.
Well, what?
So that day I was in the office.
Yeah.
Paul asked if he could talk to me.
Yeah.
He did not say, "Don't tell Bob." And in fact, I think he wants me to tell you about that conversation. Paul talks to you about production issues, about all those things. But he is unable, for whatever reason, to talk to you about other things like the business, what's going to happen, and all of that. So I think it was Don's death, unexpected, it was rippled through this whole community that we live in of family businesses. And he's thinking it could happen to you. And if it happened to you, first of all, he's worried about you. He's worried about what would happen to the business. He's worried that I am in no position to know about the business. None of our kids.
We've if something happens to both of us, the three kids are going to own the company equally.
Right.
They can, the two boys are in the company. They, with Paul's help, they can run things that it'll work out. They can handle it.
They're not handling it now. And, Lynn knows the salary that they get paid. She knows.
Yeah,
no,
I know.
She knows. I don't know how she knows. I haven't told her. But she knows that they're getting paid a lot.
Yeah.
And she's getting nothing out of the business.
Well, hold on. Let's take a look at that. Yes, I agree. The boys are paid more than if their last name was Smith.
Right.
They get paid more, understood. More than they deserve. But the company's doing well, I think, without patting myself too much on the back because of what I do. I run it well. And so that stock, that they're 5%, and ultimately when they own it each a third, is going to be worth a lot. So, yeah, and I understand we don't pay dividends. We put the money back into the business to keep growing it so it's more and more profitable, worth more and more every year. So that's where she's going to get her stuff in the long term.
Maybe.
What do you mean, maybe?
Well, a couple maybes. So let's say you're out of the business and the two boys are in the business. They own 2/3 of the company.
And you're out there, but you would own it if I was out. Are you?
I would own it, but let's say I'm out too.
Okay, so we're both dead. Fine. Now what?
So they run the business. They own it 2/3, right?
Right.
They can make all the decisions.
Right?
So she still has no control
Well-
over anything, right?
Well, yeah, in one sense, that's correct. But let's suppose that those two boys see it differently. And so they each own 1/3, but they need, they need Lynn to vote with one of them. So in one sense, she's the real power person if they can't agree. Now, I'll tell you the problem with that. I don't think she is going to know squat about the business either.
Right. So this is a dysfunctional business. It could be.
Joyce, I've done all I can to try and work through these things. I keep thinking about them. Hopefully time will allow things to work out and it'll all be fine and dandy. Just relax.
No, Bob. This story is not going to end well.
Yes, it
So,
will.
not at the rate we're going. So, Paul suggested, now he didn't tell me to tell you, but I think he wants me to tell you, but he suggested that I think about some other avenues that we could go down. And one of them was St. Louis University has a program, an educational program for family businesses, that they deal with issues and they look down the road and they plan, because most family businesses will have those issues.
I'm not going to do anything like that. That's like people earlier talked about, well, why don't you get a board of directors? I don't need a
Right.
bunch of outsiders telling me how to run my company. No way. And I'm not going to some program at some university where okay, well, if you're over there, you must have problems, da, 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 da. I don't want our banker, I don't want our customers, I don't want our suppliers to understand that we have some issues. So no, I don't want a board of directors, and I don't want to go to a program like you're talking about.
Bob, I know you're doing the best you can. I know that. But it's not good enough right now. We need some help.
I don't see this thing. But I'll tell you what. Why don't you learn more about it? But don't tell them who you are. I don't.
Tell who?
At St. Louis U, didn't you say that's where it was?
Right.
We'll call over there and learn about this program. but tell them you have a friend that's in a family business and you heard about it or whatever, or don't tell them who you are. You want to learn more, and we can talk about it and see what happens, but I'm not promising anything either.
I'm really glad you took that first step, Bob. That was a
Well,
big,
Don't go
First step.
jumping too far down the road on this either.
but we're further down the road than we were when we began this conversation, and it's ending differently than all the other ones. And
right.
I'm really appreciative
Okay.
because
All right.
I lay awake at night and it's not good.
Okay, fine. You do that. Let me know what you find. Okay?
I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you.
Okay. What's for dinner?
We're having meatloaf.
Okay. Well, I love meatloaf. Good.
Good. We'll have it about half an hour.